Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to another fun Art Snacks video. Art Snacks have kindly sent me January's Art Snacks box, so let's get into this and see what supplies we have to work with this time. So I've already pre-cut the label, so let's just open this up and see what we have. No peeking. Okay, oh, some different supplies this time. So let's get the paperwork out the way so we don't spoil any of the surprises. So straight away we have a paper pad, a really tiny paper pad of cold pressed watercolor paper, which feels absolutely lovely. I love this. Wow, it's really thick as well. Nice. Okay, so that's Stonehenge Aqua Cold Press Heavy. That's our first supply, and we have acrylic paint. I haven't used acrylic paint in so long. So we have two tubes here. So we've got Titan Buff. I presume that's like titanium buff, like in the luminance coloured pencil supplies kind of colour range, I don't know. And then we have Burnt Umber Light. Okay, so some pretty neutral tones there. So I'm already thinking wildlife, obviously. But let's see what else we have in this small package here. So we also have our little sweet, which is a little like a polo. I haven't had any of those in a long time. And what is our sticker this time? Oh, that's a cute one. I like that one. It's a really colourful one. That's like me down to a T. Okay, so in this package, let us just get rid of that box. Let's see what's in our bright green package this time. So, where's the opening? Is that it? I don't know. Just want to get into the package. Oh, okay. Let's put that over there. So, the tip came off. What we have here is a paintbrush and a pen. So this is a Stabilo Sensor F fine liner. Let's have a look at what this looks like. Oh, okay. I haven't worked with this before. This will be kind of fun. So we've got our standard fine liner and this teeny tiny premium ink. Is it King Art Original Gold number 2. So that's quite nice. So let's read the supplies sheet that's come with this and put all of this in view. So what do we actually have? We have what's on the menu for January. We have a Stabilo Sensor Black Fine Liner. Nice. Perfect all-round fine liner, apparently. We will see, won't we? We have Golden Fluid Acrylics. Highly intense permanent acrylic colour with golden fluid acrylics. Cool. And then a King Art was right. Gold 9000 series gold Taklon brush number 2. And then we have the Stonehenge Aqua Cold Press by Legion Paper. Okay, so I have no idea what I'm going to create for this box. So I'm going to do the usual. I'm going to get my sketchbook out, I'm going to try these supplies and then come up with some thumbnail concepts and a possible thing of what we can create. I have absolutely no idea. Can you tell? I'm scared about this box, but let's go. So the first thing that I did was actually got to just testing out these supplies. I also ate the sweet. I realised it's not a polo. Can't remember for the life of me what on earth it was, but it's some kind of American sweet and it was delicious. I really enjoyed that, so that was fun. So yeah, I was a little bit apprehensive about what I actually wanted to create for this. Immediately I knew I wanted to do wildlife, and just looking at the colours I was kind of thinking along the lines of like a dog or a cat or some kind of like big fluffy thing was my immediate thought. So all I did to begin with was just test out exactly what these acrylic colours could do. And I actually had to use a bit of a larger paintbrush for this because that small paintbrush just wasn't doing it for me. I was trying to experiment with everything using this tiny paintbrush, and I decided no, we're just going to use a large paintbrush. And before I actually put down any of the acrylic, I also wanted to test out this Stabilo, and I wanted to test out if it was water soluble and if I could use it like some kind of watercolour. So I just swatched down a little bit of ink onto the paper and then just applied water with a brush, and I got this really lovely sort of almost like a Payne's grey colour, and it looked like cloudy smoke, and I thought that this would be a really good idea and a good way to represent like a night sky or something like that. So that was what I really wanted to incorporate. I knew I wanted to use the pen in this manner, as well as using the pen as it's intended for like outlining and stuff. The acrylic colours themselves are really lovely to use. They go down really creamy. I didn't really have any complaints about this. I'm not really too clued up on acrylic colour and what to look for and what not to look for, but they went down really well and they dried incredibly quickly as well. And I just mixed a little bit of water with these just to see how sort of translucent they became, and then I let those dry and then sort of mix the colours together just to see what kind of tones I could create. And I was creating these really nice sort of earthy tones, and immediately I thought wolf. That was my initial thought, and because I wanted to incorporate the Stabilo pen and do that kind of watercolour effect and a night sky, I thought a wolf howling at the moon. It's kind of a little bit of a generic idea, but that's kind of what I went with this, and I was really excited about using these materials in conjunction with one another. I also experimented with the acrylic colours a little bit just to see what kind of textures I could create. So I used the brush really loaded with acrylic paint, and then I just allowed it to get less paint on the brush and create this kind of dry texture and just kind of have a little play with what I could create, and I had fun with this process. So all of this was going on in my sketchbook, and it wasn't like a paper that could handle large amounts of water and stuff like this, so I decided that it would be best to see how the colours came out on the watercolour pad that came with the supplies, because working on different types of paper with coloured pencil, I know that different papers can give different colours, so I just wanted to test on the actual pad that came with it, just see how the colours came out, and they were exactly the same, so I was happy with that. The acrylic colours had actually dried in my sketchbook as well, so I just went over and I tried to see how well each colour would work over the top of one another, and again I watered those down just to see if I could get like this really nice translucent-y effect, because I was developing the idea in my brain of having the breath of the wolf like coming towards the moon, so I wanted to see if I could use that titanium buff colour to go over some of the darker colours to create that kind of wispy smoke effect. Then it was the thumbnailing process, and because I had 5 sheets of this watercolour paper, I thought it would be a good idea to use all of them. So I was thinking of ways in which I could use a majority of them. I'd already used one for this tester sheet, so I had 4 left to play with. And I thought that I could do like a little tester piece on one sheet, and then I thought it might be a good idea to do like a kind of triptych spanning over 3 pieces of this paper, but kind of offset from one another. I don't know, the idea was kind of good in my head and I went with it, but you'll see from the final result that I don't actually prefer this idea over my tester piece. So I started off with the small tester piece just on one little sheet of paper, and all I did was just swatch down some of the Stabilo fine liner pen onto my sketchbook, and then I used a wet paintbrush to pick up the pigment of the like inky, I suppose it is, picked up the ink with the paintbrush and then just applied it to the paper to create this really nice kind of midnighty sky effect. I don't know, I really like the way that this actually turned out because it looks like there's fog. It just gave it a really nice atmosphere, and I was really pleased with this, and I was kind of like ingenious about using the pen in this way. For the wolf, all I did was just applied the acrylic paint down. I thinned it out a little bit with the water just to create like a translucenty wash to begin with, and then just started to go in with thicker amounts of the acrylic and then just add some darker shadows and some detail to the wolf. I had a lot of fun with this, and I have worked with acrylic before. I used to use acrylic when I was doing art at school and at A-level, and it was so good to get back to this medium and just kind of, I don't know, it was nice to get back to the roots almost, because this is the main medium that I used at school. We barely used anything else because this was all we was given, so it was kind of reminiscent of that period of time, and I really did enjoy the process. I was a little bit scared about using these materials to begin with, but in the end I thoroughly enjoyed working with these. It was just so nice just to sit back and experiment and not have any sort of bold expectations of what I was going to create. I knew what I was going to create wasn't going to be like perfect in my mind, and I was just having fun with it, and that's kind of what art is all about, isn't it? Just having fun. I was just going with something that I had formed in my mind. I did have a reference photo that I partially used, but yeah, I didn't follow it too closely, and it's just really a really nice process to follow through with. I did actually switch back to using the tiny little brush that came with the pack, and it was really good for adding the details that I wanted to add. I didn't add in like too many details. I wanted to keep it quite simple, and I just added a few little strokes of the brown acrylic colour here and there just to accent a few areas. And yeah, the kind of, I don't know, the style of this isn't like super duper smooth. I kept my paintbrush quite rough. I just used it like a dabbing technique. I don't paint often, so I don't know the name of any particular techniques, but I was just kind of dabbing the paint down, just making like little splodges almost, and it was almost kind of like a mosaic effect what I was left with on the paper, and I was really happy with that. And then I decided to go around the wolf and just add a really nice sort of sketchy styled outline. This is the kind of outline that I usually do with like my watercolor pieces, and I just decided to stick with that kind of style. I did a little sketchy outline and added a few details within the wolf itself, like a few fur details and that, and it was starting to really come together at this point. And then I decided to go back in with that small paintbrush and just develop some shadows, just to add a little bit of contrast to the wolf, and just again to develop that kind of sort of spattery kind of, well, not spattery, but that kind of like mosaic-y type effect on his fur. I kind of almost treated these acrylic colours like watercolours. I didn't use them like really thick and pasty all the time. I'm not sure if that's the best practice for acrylic colour, or whether it's just not something that you do with acrylics, but I mixed mine with water majority of the time. The only time I really used it thick and pasty was just to add a few hints into the shadow, and whilst I was painting the moon, as you can see here. So yeah, I used this as more like of a watercolour kind of thing. I'm not sure if you're supposed to do that, but I had fun with it. So I finished my tester piece, and I am really pleased with the tester piece. I love how it came out. I was just enjoying the whole process of this. I freehanded everything, and I was just being like, yeah, art. I was really in the groove. So then I turned my mind to doing the sort of triptych idea that I had, and originally I was going to do them like portrait, so it was really tall, and I was drawing the wolf out and it wasn't quite fitting as I would like. So then I turned all of the pieces of paper landscape and tried it that way, and I was just having a little bit of an issue with the sizing of the wolf, and it just wasn't looking great. I should have probably said to myself, okay, let's just abandon this idea and just stick with the tester piece because the tester piece was good. But no, I persevered. I wanted to get this little triptych-y thing done, so I managed to size the wolf and have it kind of alright over 3 pieces of paper. Well, the wolf was actually only over the first 2 and the moon was in the third one at the top, but I managed to space it out and get it looking somewhat okay. And again, just added the ink, applied the Stabilo pen to my sketchbook page, and then just used a wet paintbrush to pick up that inkiness and just apply it to the paper. I really love this technique. I'm really pleased that I decided to do this because I think it's the best part of both pieces. It's just this really kind of ink blotted, patchy look of the sky. I really do love it. On this larger piece, I did actually use the titanium buff acrylic colour. I used that a lot thicker than I did on the tester piece, and that's purely because there was a larger area to cover. But then I started watering it down and I mixed 2 colours together, and then I started to do this kind of dabbing technique. And just creating the same kind of look as what I had on the tester piece. I was really caught up on how I had done everything on the tester piece that I should have just been free with it and just, you know, done what the paintbrush wanted me to do and just sort of done what my heart wanted me to do. But I was so caught up on trying to replicate the tester piece that I think that's one of the biggest downfalls of this larger, the final piece, so to speak. I think it's one of the downfalls of it, and I'm really disappointed that I didn't let myself be as free with this. I was just trying to replicate something that already went well, and I think that's the main reason why this larger piece failed a little bit. But I had fun with this anyway. That's what it's all about, isn't it? Just having fun with art, just trying out new supplies. All of these supplies are completely new to me. Well, not new. I haven't used any of these kinds of supplies in about 16 years. So yeah, it's been a while and it was nice to reconnect with this medium. And I'm gonna frame the little tester piece of the wolf because I'm really proud of that. That's gonna go on in a little tiny frame above my desk so I can just be like, oh yeah, that's that time that I played with acrylics. Anyway guys, I really hope that you have enjoyed this video. I really hope that you are enjoying my ArtSnacks videos that I'm bringing to you. I'm really enjoying opening them and using the supplies now. I can't wait for February's box. I can't wait to see what is inside and what I can start to create because I'm absolutely loving this process. If you fancy checking out ArtSnacks and having a go at this kind of supply type challenge yourself, then I have left the link down below of where you can find the boxes and the ArtSnacks website. And if you use my code AmieHoward10, you can get 10% off your first purchase. I will go ahead and say that this box was sent to me by ArtSnacks, so thank you ArtSnacks for sending me yet another fabulous box. If you like this video, make sure you give it a big thumbs up with that button below, and if you're new around here and you want to see more ArtSnacks boxes and you want to also follow along with coloured pencil tutorials, tips and techniques, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I upload new videos every single Friday and I live stream on Sundays too, which is always a hoot, and if you fancy watching live drawing, that's where you want to be, so I would be really glad to have you join the community here. Anyway guys, I will see you in the next video. Bye!